You don't know the power of the dark side.
Broadcasting live from 38 Studios in Providence, this is the Go Ask Mickey podcast, helping you with the tips, tricks, and the tools needed to save you time and money on your next Disney vacation. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, send them to goaskmickey@gmail.com.
Hey, and welcome to episode 16 of the Go Ask Mickey podcast. My name's Jerry from goaskmickey.com, and joining me in the studio today is the world-famous Fast Eddie. On this week's show, we have Mission Space Unleaded, which is coming to Epcot. We're talking about Hollywood studios turning into a drinker's paradise. And we're also talking taxis, Ubers, and minivans. How to use them and how to get around with them. All that and more coming up next on the Go Ask Mickey podcast.
Do you hear that? Hear what? I'm receiving some sort of transmission. You don't hear it?
No, I don't hear anything. What does it sound like?
It's some sort of message. And music.
Music? Route it through the main system.
Good idea. Routing now.
What is that?
I don't know, but it sounds familiar.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Star Wars Weekends at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
May the Force be with you.
All right, and thanks for this week's episode. Hope everybody had a great week. It's been very busy, very, your typical, usual, busy week. Hope everybody had a good one. The weather up here has changed hugely. It almost feels like October up in New England area. It's a weird change because you go from 90 degrees, 85 degrees, bam, right down to 60s, and you're like, whoa. So that was a bit of a shock. You're trying to get used to that, and then you adjust to that, and then next day you're back up at 90s. It's a weird thing. Down in Florida, there's a tropical storm, I think, or is it a depression or whatever it is. So they're getting hit with a lot of rain. So that kind of sucks for them. Not much happening this weekend. Just a busy, typical week. A lot of working. A lot of busy stuff. So, let's get into it. How about that? Alright, this week in the news, Mission Space reopened, or Mission Space is to reopen for refurbishment on August 13th. So a couple weeks with a new mission and a new height restriction. So it was recently confirmed that Mission Space will finally reopen from its extensive refurbishment in just a few days on August 13th. Perhaps coincidentally on the same day that Ellen's energy adventure inside the Universe of Energy is supposed to close. When this ride reopens, it will feature a new green team, which is the unleaded version. The green team mission that takes guests on a gentle journey around Earth from orbit that has been described as a soaring in space. So it's kind of like a soaring ride around the world, outside of the world. So it's in addition to the new mission, they also have a height restriction. So it will be lessened for the green mission side with an addition of 2 new booster seats, which will bring the height requirement down to 40 inches. So your kids should definitely be able to ride this. So the new look of the mission of the ride, which opens in the theme park's Future World, it originally opened in theme park's Future World in 2003, will have 2 different experiences. You'll have the orange, you'll have the green. So it'll be good to be able to ride it now, because a lot of people couldn't ride it before. It was a ride where people got sick. You know, the orange, a lot of people got sick. The green was a little better. But, I mean, I personally have never ridden it, and now I think I could actually try it. You know, if the little kids are doing it, I think I could do it. What about you? I could do it, yeah, without throwing up, I hope. Star Tours bothers me. Yeah, the Star Tours gets to me sometimes. You ride it and you get off and you're like, whoa, that was a little weird. The teacups get to me sometimes, yeah. So, yeah, it's a matter of being able, because now they're going to have the restaurant there too as well. Well, soon to be restaurant, the Mission Space restaurant type thing that they're building. So that'll be a nice area to go. You can ride the ride, and you can definitely go on to that restaurant, and hopefully you don't throw up. So I was surprised that they were putting the restaurant on that side, because I thought that, you know, that Garden Grill would be a perfect place for the Mission Space restaurant, because it's spun around. So, you know, because it's a slow, steady spin, to have that restaurant spinning and to put those windows to make you feel like you're in outer space and you'll actually get a feel that you are moving. I thought that would be a good place for them to put this restaurant, but apparently it's going on the other side. So, with that, we'll be right back with the next news story right after this.
What a nice bear.
And he smells like strawberries.
We have the Grand Avenue opening this fall at Disney's Hollywood Studios. If you've walked into the Muppet Courtyard recently, you have noticed that Disney is hard at work repainting the few facades from the former streets of America that face the construction walls. And while Disney didn't really say anything at the time, this is new, about this change, it announced earlier this week that this new color scheme, which is deep blues and grays, was indeed purposeful, as Disney is turning the small corner of the park, which is next to the Writer's Stop, or the former Writer's Stop, into a brand new land called Grand Avenue. Okay? So it is inspired by the spirit of present-day downtown Los Angeles, which is pretty cool. The now confirmed Grand Avenue land, quote-unquote, which is actually based by a real street in California, will feature some familiar facades with some new colors designed to recall the look of a vintage office buildings and warehouses that are common in Los Angeles. So it's very like warehouse, huge big ceilings and columns and construction stuff. So the picture, they have a picture that I'll put up on Twitter and my Facebook, that, you know, is a is an artist rendering of what this place would look like. And there won't be any major attractions in this new area. There simply isn't any space. It's just a small little area. Disney announced a brand new watering hole named Baseline Tap House. Woo-hoo. There will be opening here this fall. This brand new location is being described as a cheerful corner pub specializing in beer and wines from California. This sounds awesome, people. So Disney has created a bit of a backstory for this location, saying that Baseline Tap House celebrates the revitalization of downtown Los Angeles by paying homage to the building's former life as Figueroa's printing company. It's a mom-and-pop print house that had ties to the Disney studios in nearby Burbank. So this is based all out of California, and it's a watering hole which has craft beers and wines, and it's just a place to hang. It seems really cool to me. Hollywood Studios really doesn't have much now, and Great Movie Ride is closing. There's just nothing going on over there. So, hey, why not drink, right? So, we'll see how that one works out. We don't have a date on the opening. They just said fall, and we'll keep an eye on this one, because this definitely sounds, damn good. So, we will be right back with Guide to Taxis, Ubers, and the new minivans, and how to use them at Walt Disney World. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the Go Ask Mickey podcast.
Okay, welcome back. All right, let's get into the main topic today, which is, with all the stuff that's been going on, the minivans just recently been released over at Walt Disney World, which are the polka-dotted minivan type service that they offered complimentary this past weekend. I thought it would be appropriate to go over and discuss, the taxis and the Ubers, as well as the new minivans, and compare a side-by-side comparison to each to get a feel on, what you would like to do when you do go down there and use these. So, I personally have used taxis quite a bit. I've used Uber, and we have not used the minivans as of today. So, there has been, I've watched closely on the reaction to the minivans. A lot of people like them. There's a great reaction to it, but I don't know if it's all worth it. So, we're going to dissect all that in this episode, and we're going to start off with the taxis, all right? So, for those who don't wish to rent a car, but you're still looking for an occasional lift to somewhere on Disney property, or maybe you need to leave Disney World grounds, or even if you're willing to pay to avoid the crowds and waiting in a bus line for the Disney buses, using a taxi or a town car is a great option. So now there are several choices. There's taxis, town cars, Ubers, or Lyft. Now, we are not discussing Lyft because Lyft has joined with Disney as far as doing the minivans, so that's a whole nother section. So we're just doing taxis and stuff for now. So, Taxis, luxury cars, limousines are all part of Orlando's Disney World transportation. And Mears is the taxi service contracted to provide service to Disney World. They cover the checkered cabs, the city cabs, and the yellow cabs. And all are divisions of Mears. Even the buses. When you ride in the buses, it's all Mears. So they got a good contract, those guys. No other cab company can be used at the cab stands at Disney. In addition to regular taxis, they also have luxury vehicles like sedans, SUVs, they have vans and limousines. So if you want to do any of those, you can. You have to, call them in advance or whatever. But if you have a large party, you want to jump in a van, you're going from place to place, they can do that. We have heard that Mears tends to be more expensive than Uber, of course. That's easy. The cost is that Mears allows you to calculate and book your ride online. So they have a destination calculator, a fare estimator, that allows you to punch in whether you're going from, say, Port Orleans Riverside to Animal Kingdom. And you type that in, it'll tell you exactly how much it costs. So I'll put an app, I'll put a thing for the app on the show notes, so you can download that if you want. So for regular taxis, there's a Mears taxi fare estimator, and for the luxury vehicles, there's a Mears luxury vehicle fare estimator. So you can compare both. If you really need a limo to take you wherever, you can find out how much it's going to cost you. They have accessible taxis as well. Mears has accessible taxi vans that will take a wheelchair, a scooter, but it can take a while to get one of those to you since there's a limited number of them. Town cars are not accessible and can't accommodate wheelchairs or scooters, so it has to be a van. So they're limited on the number of vans. So if people are using those vans at that time that you need one, it could take you a while. Let's see what else. I got a phone numbers that I can put on the show notes as well. That pretty much sums up the taxi service part of this. We could get into the Uber. Now there is using Uber in Orlando. With Uber, local people sign up as drivers, and this usually means Disney cast members. So they do on their downtime when they're not working, they are Uber drivers. So they sign up and use their own cars to taxi customers around. Uber has been giving regular taxi service a run for their money, and they tend to be a far less expensive part. Of course, it's a completely different kind of service, but it's becoming very successful, and many of the members of the Disney Facebook group feel to come and join, have used it and really prefer it to regular taxis. Now, I've used the regular taxis, and, it's not like New York where they got some weird kind of Indian music going, and they have this smell to it. It smells like, 3-day-old fish. It's not like that, but some taxis are clean, some aren't. So that's what you're going to get. And with Uber, you get both sides. You could get a messy car, you could get a clean car, you could get, that's how it's the luck of the draw, basically. So now with Uber, as well as Mears, everybody is vetted, so they have background checks and all that stuff. So it's all perfectly safe as far as safety concerned are. So if you're worried about, people driving you off to wherever, that's not going to happen. Not with the Mears. That's why you exclusively use Mears, because they're checked constantly. So the safety issue is taken away with the mirrors and at Uber, because Uber does the same thing. It's very reliable. It's very safe. So how does Uber work? You download an app to your phone, whether it's Android, iOS, or Windows. You use the app to request a driver to come take you to your destination, and you can choose between different levels of cars. Of course, it's the luxurious the vehicle, the more expensive the fare. They have a category for minivans, and they have large SUVs that will take up to 6 passengers. Now, they also have an app that you can use. It's a Uber free estimator, and it's your Uber driver will pick you up and drop you off on Disney property. And there are a couple of restrictions in the following locations. Now, at Coronado Springs, they can only pick you up at the main lobby. They can't travel around the resort. And any resort you're not staying in, you must have a dining reservation for them to be allowed in. So if you're going to Contemporary, or if you're going to the Poly, you need to have a reservation to prove that you're going there for some reason. At Magic Kingdom, you can be dropped off or picked up at the taxi queue in the Ticket and Transportation Center, where you'll be picked up either you will be able to pick up the monorail or the boat to the Magic Kingdom gate. Uber cannot take you to the gate. That's key right there. Remember that. Because of the ongoing changes that are going on at Disney Springs, they can only pick up and drop off at locations. You'll need to check where they're allowed to pick up, or ask where they're allowed to pick up and drop off. They're allowed into all the parks, and you won't be asked to pay for the car to enter. So they are allowed to go wherever. Uber can also take you to locations in Orlando beyond, such as Tampa. For child seats, which is a big thing, they may be able to provide one forward-facing car seat for a child who is at least 12 months and 22 pounds and 30 inches. There's currently an additional charge of $8 for that. So, and you might run into availability. It may be limited. People might be using it at the time, especially at Disney World. You might run into that. I think that's pretty much it as far as Uber and taxis. Okay, also with the Uber part of it, when you open the app and you request a ride, you type in where you're going. There are different levels to Uber at Walt Disney World. There's Uber X, which is the cheap one, which is the least expensive option. Usually it's a sedan type of a car and allows up to 4 passengers. Now they have an Uber XL, which is the second highest price, which is the middle tier, and it's often a SUV, a minivan, and that allows up to 6 passengers. Now the Uber Select, which is the most expensive option, is a luxury car such as a BMW, Mercedes, or a Lexus, and it has leather interiors, really nice cool air conditioning, and a nice air freshener, and it allows up to 4 passengers. Pretty spiffy. And they also have Uber Family, which is new, and you can get Uber Family for an $8 charge. That's that $8 charge. It will provide you a car seat for your ride. This is available with Uber X and Uber XL, and the Uber driver is required to have at least 1 car seat in one of those models. So they'll have a car seat in whatever you pick. So you can click on the service level to get a detailed breakdown of the fare, the car capacity, and the estimated time of arrival before you request the car. So it'll tell you they're 10 minutes out, they're 5 minutes out, and this is the car you're going to get. So everything is broken down within the app. You can request a car for later on, which you can click on a clock icon, and you can hit the request button, and that'll allow you to choose a later time to be picked up and where to be picked up. So if you wanted a car now, you would request the now button, and it sets up your confirmation screen, and you can confirm a pickup. So once you do that, it takes however minutes, and your car will have accepted the request to pick you up, and you'll see information on the screen, and you can see the name of the person that will be picking you up. Usually see their picture, the make and the model of the car, and the license plate number. This way you'll know for sure who it is. So do not get to somebody else's car that comes over and says, "Hey, I'm Uber, jump in." No, you'll know who it is, what the license plate, everything about, that you need to know before you get to the car. You'll have other options. You can cancel your trip. You can get an ETA. You can see how much it's going to cost. There's lots of things to this app. So I would definitely, my pick would be Uber. Once your driver arrives at the end of the ride, they will be asked to rate the person, and they'll rate you within their app. So each person is rating each other. So the driver will also be rating you as a passenger, and you will be rating him as a driver. So it goes both ways, which is totally awesome. So if you're getting a driver, it'll show you when you order your vehicle pickup. It'll tell you how many stars you'll be getting as far as a driver. You'll have 5 stars in the app, and make sure you know which was a good experience, and they'll do the same for you. Payment is automatically processed, and with whatever payment method that you pick, tipping isn't required, but you can tip if you like. I suggest tipping $1 per bag if the driver helps you to unload luggage. Or you could do $1 per person. So that would be Uber as far as... Yeah, that is Uber as far as the good points about it. Now, I don't recommend using Uber at Walt Disney World if the surge pricing making it cost more than it's worth to you. Now, what surge pricing is when Uber increases their normal rates due to high demand, and the app will tell you the full rate before you request a car, so you'll know ahead of time. This is also, I wouldn't recommend if you have a lot of luggage or people that would require a high level of service and may not be able to make it won't make any financial sense if you cannot, you have a ton of luggage, a lot of people, it's just not going to work for hiring Uber. So those situations, people with a lot of kids, you could, you have a lot of young kids in car seats, I wouldn't recommend it. Because they only really have one car seat per Uber car, so... but I definitely would recommend it if you're traveling between resorts, because Disney doesn't provide any transportation between the resorts, and this saves a lot of time. If you have an early morning reservation, Disney does provide early morning reservations, but if you really wanted to get there earlier, the buses usually don't run over close to an hour before park opens. So if you wanted to leave an hour and a half, you could grab an Uber and you'd be all set. And if you're going off-site, if you want to go to Universal, they do travel to Universal. And that's what a lot of people use Uber for, because a lot of people like to go to Disney, stay there, and then jump back and forth to Universal. So they definitely will do that. It's a cheaper way to do it than a taxi. So I would definitely try to compare both of them. Later on, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of each one. Compare a taxi, an Uber, and a minivan. Right now, we're going to take a break, but we will be right back with the new minivans over at Epcot Boardwalk area, and we'll get an in-depth look at those right after this.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Centerfold Retoucher.
Mr. Centerfold Retoucher.
Your incredible talent takes gorgeous women and somehow makes them gorgeouser.
A mucho gorgioso.
Breasts bigger, moles smaller, mustaches gone.
You're a star.
Thanks to you, hot wax is a thing of the past, and working out is for suckers.
Ancient history.
Any artist can say their work is in a gallery, but how many can say their work is stuffed under mattresses around the world?
You're gonna go blind.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, old Da Vinci of the Derriere, because thanks to you, we can enjoy real beauty the way we like it. Completely fake. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Alrighty, back. Alright, this is a look at the minivans, which have just launched at Walt Disney World. I believe it was last week. Uber and Lyft are well-known chauffeur-style services that are giving taxis a run for their money. Well, now it seems like Disney World is wanting to enter the world of the private transportation with their new minivan service. Minivans are currently testing in Walt Disney World and are expected to have a start date in early August. These vans, which are 2017 Chevy Traverses, seat up to 6 people and include 2 car seats for children. They are handicapped accessible vehicles and are expected to be ready by early August. This service will take you from anywhere on Disney property to anywhere else on Disney property. So, it's only Disney property. You can't use these to go to Universal. You can't use these to go to wherever in Legoland or wherever you want to go in Orlando. You can't. It's only Disney property. Let's see. Transportation around Walt Disney World will cost $20 for up to 6 people. So no matter where you go on Disney property, the minivans will take a second vehicle at no extra charge if they can't fit all of your things in one car. So if you have luggage, if you're transferring from resort to another resort, they will take you at that one charge. But that could change. Another advantage of the minivans is their VIP drop-off and pickup locations. Magic Kingdom allows pickup and drop-off right at the bus stop instead of the transportation ticket center with Uber or taxis. That is huge. Let me repeat. They will be dropping off right at the bus stop at the Magic Kingdom. Okay? That is huge. So, if you're coming from a resort and you want to get to Magic Kingdom quick, now it's a flat rate of $20, but they will drop you off right where the buses drop you off. Now, you can wait for a bus or you can take this. Spend the $20, that's up to you. But that is huge because no other service will do that. So that's an advantage, ching, for this service. Magic Kingdom allows you to pick up transportation center. This will save you time on the monorails or ferries. Disney Springs drop-off locations are next to Cirque du Soleil and the Old Marketplace bus stop. So it's both sides. Resorts that take up a large area like Port Orleans and have numerous bus stops that allow you to get very close to your room instead of sporadic bus stops. So they will drop you off, like Coronado Springs, they will drop you off close to your room because they're allowed to go through there. While all others drop off and pick up locations are confirmed, we are not sure of the exact area for Epcot and Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom, which I'm pretty sure, I think I heard that they are doing right at the bus stops as well. So you're getting front door service with this. This will make sense as it is a Disney-run transportation service and would make it easier for guests to get back to their resorts. So now, people have tested the minivans, and from Disney Beach Club to Disney Springs and back, the driver was knowledgeable, they talked to you about everything, and they knew of this service. It took 11 minutes to get there and 10 minutes to get back. So that's going from Beach Club to Disney Springs. That took 10 minutes. When compared to XL Uber and large-sized Lyft, which we're really not comparing because technically the minivans are Lyft. They signed a contract with Lyft, and they are a Lyft service. Disney really hates Uber. You can totally tell because they would not sign with Uber. So when compared to XL Uber, Mears luxury vans, the price point in time driving is around the same for 4 to 6 people. So the time it takes you to get to wherever is the same for everybody. This comparison is if you had the maximum amount of people, which is 6. Okay? So 6 people driving from each place is huge. So overall, Disney is the high-end price when you're driving from a flat rate. It depends on where you're going. Because you could be going from Disney Springs to Magic Kingdom, you're getting front door service. That is huge for $20. And because it's a flat rate, some places could be longer. The only question I have for all this, which I haven't figured out yet, is the hardest place to get on Disney property, which is the Hoop-de-Doo Review. So if you have a reservation for the Hoop-de-Doo Review, you need to get there because this is the biggest pain in the ass type of reservation to get to. You got to take your bus from your hotel to the Magic Kingdom, and then you got to jump on a boat to the Wilderness Lodge. Fort Wilderness. So that takes huge time. Now, if you could jump on a minivan, or wherever, and they take you to the actual Hoop-de-Doo Review within Fort Wilderness, because now I heard that they can go through these places, that's huge. That's $20 well spent, because Mears and Uber can only drop you at the front of Fort Wilderness. So you would have to get an internal bus to drive you to the Hoop-de-Doo Review. So if they can do that, that's there are advantages to that hugely. All right, so that is pretty much all of what I have on the minivan at this time. What I did was I did a side-by-side comparison and compared different places to go to each one. Now with this, the one thing about minivans is you will get a cast member. A lot of people feel that this is safer because you're getting a cast member. It's hired by Disney. You will also be getting the only hours for this service are from 6:30 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. So those times are limited. So when you're going to use this, if you're hanging out one night at a bar or whatever, you want to come home, you only have till 12:30. After that, you're going to have to get a Mears or you're going to have to get an Uber. So that sums up each one individually. Now we're going to come back with the side-by-side comparison of each one to go through which one is the best for your money. So we'll be right back after this. I have the comparison we're going to go over now. And when comparing the prices, we went from two different places. We went from the Beach Club to Disney Springs, and then we also went from All Stars to Magic Kingdom. So the Beach Club to Disney Springs using the minivans is a flat rate of $20. Using the Mears app, you get a luxury van. This is for 4 people. A luxury van, and it is $16.20. And that was for Mears. And the Uber, you have 2 options. You can have a car seat, which is the Uber X, which is $15.20, or the Uber XL, which is the upper grade with a car seat, and that is $19.77. So, Uber, Mears, and the minivans. So that's the comparison. So it's a flat rate as far as the minivans, $20. And it costs the same whether you take 6 people or whatever you use. Basically, Disney is the higher end of the price, but when combining their service with the VIP location, it's a decent choice. We believe this service will prove to be, a successful service, especially at nights at Magic Kingdom after the fireworks. People will rather throw $20 to get a nice ride back to their hotel than wait for a crowded bus. But those are going to be going like crazy. You get out of the fireworks show and people are going to be, they're going to be lined up. The minivans will be lined up probably, waiting to pick up people. So, and judging from the fact that they can pick up right where the buses are, you come out of Magic Kingdom, they're going to be right there. Now, if you wanted to take an Uber, you would either have to jump on the monorail to go to the TTC, or you take a walk, 5-minute walk over to Contemporary, and they can pick you up over there. So that's your second choice. Same with the Mears. Mears taxis are always in front of all the major resorts, like the deluxe and the moderates. So if you wanted a taxi, you could run over to Contemporary from the Magic Kingdom and grab one over there that's probably sitting there. So they're definitely taking Uber out of this. I think Disney is. I also did a comparison, side-by-side comparison from All-Star movies to the Magic Kingdom. And using Mears on all the luxury sedans, SUVs, whatever, it was a flat rate of $23. With Uber X, it was $10 to $13. And with Uber X with a car seat is $18 to $21. And the minivans is $20. So, that right there proves, you still have to tip. So, I don't know. I think the minivans might win out on that one. Because it's a flat rate. You get the car seats. You don't have to tip. And it's a flat rate. So, Disney positioned themselves right in there so they could definitely compete with the Mears and the Ubers. So, I don't know, the choice is up to you. That's the information that I have right now as far as the minivans, the Ubers, and the taxis. Now, as far as renting cars, that's a whole nother story. That's another podcast. We could get into that another day. But as of today, it's just taxis, Ubers, and minivans. And I think Uber and the minivans are very close to each other. So a lot of people with kids, they're going to pick the minivans, obviously, because your kid wants to ride in a little polka dotted minivan. So, and I know deep down you do too, so just admit it. Alright, that is it for the guide to taxis, Ubers, and minivans. That'll wrap up this week's show. I'd like to thank you all for listening. We will be right back with the closing of the show right after this. You're listening to the Go Ask Mickey podcast. All right, everybody, listening to the Go Ask Mickey podcast. We've discussed the hell out of taxis, Ubers, and minivans. So hopefully you got a lot of information out of that. If you could, head on over to iTunes, give us a review over there. Facebook, give us a like over there. And if you like the show, share this show with some of your friends. You could also check us out on Twitter. You could download us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Yes, and iHeartRadio and YouTube. So, until next time, Disney Nation, rock on.
Head on over to goaskmickey.com or check us out on Facebook or leave us a review on iTunes.